What's going on, y'all? And happy Tuesday. It's time to breathe again on the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So, well, along with Patrick, you see me, and as usual, Patrick, we have a lot to get to. So let's jump right into it. We'll go ahead and we'll start with the NFL draft preview. And before we go on, just know all the sports are going to be covered for this one. I mean, we got a little bit of football, we got basketball, we got some baseball, even got a little bit of hockey. We haven't been forgetting about any of the hockey. So, and then we'll get into some NCAA matters with name, image, and likeness. Boy, everything is just rearing its ugly head with this more and more, Patrick. It's getting interesting. But at first, man, let's have a review of the NFL draft. And I mean, I guess we could start off with our teams, how you feel they did through the draft. I know with the 49ers, my team, we were just kind of building up depth. We didn't have a first round pick, but I think we did a good job. It wasn't anything spectacular in terms of, oh man, we got this dude, we got to steal. I just think we got some depth. We got some people that can fill up some spots from people who had left for free agency on the defensive line, in the corner and in the wide receiver spots. Particularly, we were able to add to our depth. And like you had said last week, which I agree with, the roster wasn't in any bad shape. It's a pretty deep roster. So really, it was about building up depth. How do you feel about what the Falcons did? And then after you talk about the Falcons, then we could talk a little bit about these quarterbacks, because I mean, personally, I think it kind of went how it probably should go any other year for these quarterbacks. But we'll get to that in a minute. How do you feel about the Falcons?
So Falcons went defense. Few offensive players, of course. I mean, you're not gonna. They definitely addressed some needs on the defense, especially picking up a couple of that they did. Now that I'm looking at it, they actually went a little more. No, they did about half and half. They did about half and half. But I was really excited about two pickups. Um, Justin Schaefer. I think that's a huge pickup for them. They needed a guard bad. So I like that pickup, and I like the wide receiver pickup in London, Drake London. Um, the kid is good. The kid is good. I wish he had a better team to showcase his talents.
So I
Um,
was going to ask you. So you do like that pick, because
I
I
do like
know.
that pick.
Okay.
And the biggest reason why, obviously, we got to have somebody to throw to, especially since Calvin is gone for the year. And then we traded off Julio Jones 2 years ago, so we did need somebody to fill that void. I think that was a pretty good pickup, and then we picked up another tight end. I can't remember what his name was. Fitzpatrick from Georgia. So I like that pick too. Um, I don't know how I feel about the quarterback we picked up,
Desmond
but
Ritter.
yeah, I'm not sure about that one yet. I want to see how he plays. So that one is just a little question mark for me. I'm not sure how I'm not sure how Ritter plays in that kind of offense, but I also know that Atlanta has made quite a few moves in the past 2 years, so we'll see how that one works out. But all in all, I mean, I'm not like overly impressed, but there is a few picks that I do like that definitely I feel address some needs for us in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so you talk about what your team did, what my team did. I really do think a lot of these teams were pretty smart.
Mm,
If I had to sit back and look at the draft as a whole, I think they went in with a clear objective to address needs. You have a few A lot of people think Jacksonville reached taking Trayvon Walker with the number 1 pick. A
I
lot
thought it
of
was a
people,
good pick.
yeah, I mean, I
From a
thought it was
Georgia
fine. Now,
perspective,
me,
I thought it was a good pick.
well, okay, me personally, I think they should have went offensive line and on that pick. I guess they felt Trayvon Walker, which is like I said, I don't have a problem with the Trayvon Walker pick. I mean, I think it's good. You're still building on one of the foundations of your team, which is the defensive line. So I know a lot of people liked Aiden Hutchinson to go in that spot. He's going to a good spot too, number 2 at Detroit. I think Aiden Hutchinson is your, if you want to say he was maybe the most polished defensive end out of the ones that were hyped up, out of him, out of Trayvon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeau, and some of the other defensive ends that went, maybe Hutchinson was the most polished. What I think about Hutchinson is he's going to be a solid pro. And I think he's there in Detroit. I think he's going to do some good things there. I think Trayvon Walker and Thibodeau have more upside than what Aiden Hutchinson has. And I think that's where Jacksonville was going. They felt they can get a lot more upside out of Trayvon Walker. So from that standpoint, I don't have a huge issue with that pick. Just me personally, I would have went offensive line because, like we said last week, you got Trevor Lawrence there. Got to protect him. I think that is the number 1 priority if you're Jacksonville right now. But I guess they figured they made a few adjustments on the offensive line with Cam Robinson getting back into the fold. And I think they drafted a lineman last year as well. So they figure with time that line will get better. And they're counting on Trevor Lawrence to make a huge step under the new coaching staff. So I get it. But I think overall, just looking at what the teams did, I didn't have too much of an issue with any of them, really. Seemed like they addressed needs. We can have the debate about receivers, especially which one should have went first. And I guess the guy y'all picked up, Drake London, was the first off the board. Over the Ohio State guys, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Alabama's Jamison Williams, which the Lions moved up 20 spots to get him. That traded with the Vikings and got him. I like that for Detroit. And Detroit, so that's another thing. Your garbage teams, Patrick. If you're a fan of the Detroit Lions, the New York Jets, and the New York Giants, well, I know you have to go out there and play, but if you're looking at their draft,
they made some moves.
Yeah, they did great.
They made some moves.
Moving up 20 spots. What? Detroit?
Yeah, they made some moves. I was like, when I saw that and they were and they made that move, I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have done that 10 years ago? But okay.
Right. Like when you had a legit quarterback in Matthew Stafford.
You had a legit quarterback. It was like, but okay, here we go. All right.
I mean, Detroit moving up. How about the Eagles? They traded for AJ Brown, got them from the Tennessee Titans, and then the Titans turned around and drafted Treylon Burks, who I was high on. I like Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. I thought he was a really good receiver there, and I was, to me, man, I know. Okay, a lot of people were high on the Ohio State receivers. For me, okay, Garrett Wilson is pretty good. I feel like Olave is a good route runner, but if you put some wood on him, he's going to go sit on the bench because he doesn't want to get hit. He's a smooth.
That's the reason why I like that thing from Drake London with Atlanta.
Yeah. He got a big physical receiver there.
He's a physical receiver. He's not the best route runner that I've seen. But he can be polished. But man, he can take a hit, dude.
I mean, he's a big body dude. I mean, he's 6'5".
He's a big body dude. So I like the pick. I will say this though. Hey, shout out to them dogs.
Yeah, you got it there, man. 5 first-round picks, 15 total players
taken. Most in the current draft
ever.
And that's saying a lot because, like, what was it, 2-3 years ago?
Teams, LSU 2 years ago.
14 a couple years back.
Yeah. Yeah, LSU a couple years ago, the Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and all them that team. Yeah.
But
Bama's teams back in the day,
we put
and
15
Georgia.
here. Hold that record.
5 defensive players for y'all taken first.
Yeah.
Or in the first round.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, dude. That defense was raw.
It was sick. It was definitely sick. So, well, Patrick. But before we move off of the draft, man, a lot of people, because you know how everybody is, quarterbacks. Well, you have one that was taken in the first round, and then another one didn't go off the board till round 3, which was Desmond Ritter, when again the Atlanta Falcons took him, and then Malik Willis went to the Tennessee Titans, and Matt Corral went to the Carolina Panthers, and of course Kenny Pickett went to the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. Okay, number one, I like all 4 of those picks. I do. I Ritter going to y'all. I really like Corral going to the Panthers, and Willis going to the Titans. That honestly might be the best situation that a quarterback finds himself in. Pickett going to the Steelers. So I guess you know me, I wasn't really all that high on Kenny Pickett, but if the Steelers are saying this guy is the most pro-ready prospect, meaning as soon as he gets in there, he can play right now, I can see that. I can see where they're coming from there, because Malik Willis is really, really raw. A lot of upside, but really raw right now.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter, I think he's a little bit more polished than Malik Willis, but you could probably still grow with him. And the same with Matt Corral, who I honestly think Corral would have been higher if he didn't get hurt in the Sugar Bowl. So, I mean, I think it's pretty refreshing, if you want to know my truthful opinion, that all these quarterbacks weren't overdrafted. Because I say pretty much every year, these quarterbacks are overdrafted just because they played a position. But one going in the first round and then another one going into round 3, I think that's actually more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the teams are getting a little bit smarter there. I don't know. Maybe Patrick, can you say that?
Maybe. I just felt that. I don't know, and it could be a mix of things. I mean, truthfully, this is not a quarterback draft this year. It wasn't. Most of these teams that you looked, if you look at what they needed defense, and they drafted it. I mean, a lot. I mean, look at, like you said, 5 picks from Georgia going in the first round, all defense. I mean, but if you look at it, there's no quarterbacks in there that is just like, oh my God, let's pick him and let's see if we can build around him. I mean, your closest one, I mean, you maybe Pickett and Willis. That was about it. And like you said, I mean, like I like the pick Pittsburgh picked up with Pickett. I would say that he's probably one of the more pro-ready quarterbacks coming out of college. But I can tell you, I don't think that he's going to have the career Ritter or Willis have. I want to say Ritter is a good pickup for Atlanta. I just don't know what gear Atlanta is going right now. So if they do decide to use Ritter in his the way they need to use him, he's going to be a fantastic quarterback. But Pickett right now is the more pro-ready quarterback. But like I said, I don't think he's going to have the career Ritter or Willis will have, because they have so much more upside. They have tons of growth, and they can grow within systems where Pickett is just pro-ready right now.
Pittsburgh has a good team, and you can afford, so taking him at number 20, you can afford to make that pick because the team it's pretty deep. If you look at the Steelers roster, they have a great, or I'll say a good defense, almost great. But they can get beat sometimes, but they have a solid defense. Good skill position players. Another pick they made second round. They got the Georgia receiver, George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
So getting him to join Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson there, good receiving core. You got a good tight end and Fryer move. And the running back, Najee Harris, is good. So what you're banking on is the offensive line, which was kind of it was a liability. It was a turnstile on some cases, but you're banking on them getting better playing together because they revamped that whole offensive line. So now you've had a year of them playing together, and you're banking on them getting better with time, with reps, and then whichever quarterback is going to be, whether it's Kenny Pickett, who you would think he should be able to win that job if Mitch Trubisky is slated to be the starter, you would think you could take that job from Trubisky. So, so,
And if he doesn't, within 3 weeks.
yeah. So, but no, I'm with you, Patrick. I do think all the quarterbacks are in pretty good situations. Atlanta is kind of in a period where they're rebuilding, man. They're trying to have that draft covered back in. They're trying to reload on draft picks to build everything up from where it was, where they were paying huge amounts of money to Matt Ryan, to Julio Jones, and others that were on the team. So now you're trying to build back. You have Marcus Mariota there as a stopgap because that's what I think. I think he's a stopgap quarterback for this year. And you have a couple of weapons he can throw to with Drake London. And of course, you have Kyle Pitts. And then you just build up the defense through the draft as well. So I think it's building blocks. This was a foundation draft, I think, for Atlanta. And then maybe next year you could start to compete again, especially with we don't know where Tampa Bay is going to be. You know, Carolina's kind of in the middle somewhere trying to figure out what they're going to do. And then New Orleans, I think, is kind of on that same path right now. So maybe a little bit better than Carolina and Atlanta right now, but I don't think too much. So just build, compete, and then we'll go from there. I'll tell you this, Patrick, before we move on. It's not like the Atlanta Braves rebuild where they had literally 2 players to build.
Oh God. My heart stopped that day. God, do you remember that text I sent you? Oh my God. Atlanta dumped everybody, and I saw you that text. I was like, oh God, we don't even have enough people to put on the field.
No, yeah, like
we have a first baseman and a pitcher.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Patrick, hey man, let's move on to some basketball. So, quick little breakdown. Right now, what you have is we'll start in the East. The Milwaukee Bucks are playing the Boston Celtics right now. Looks like Boston is in pretty good shape, up 94-78, with 5:40 left in the fourth quarter. If Boston holds on, the series will be tied at 1, going to Milwaukee for games 3 and 4, since Milwaukee won game 1 on Sunday afternoon. The other series, Philly and Miami, Sixers and Heat. Miami won game 1 Monday. Game 2 is tomorrow, Wednesday, also in Miami. And Philly, Joel Embiid, he didn't play yesterday, not going to play tomorrow, and then we'll see when the scene shifts to Philadelphia. Over in the West, you have the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. They're going to play here in about 15-20 minutes. And Golden State is up 1-0 in that series. And they won 117-116. Really good game if you got to catch it on Sunday afternoon. But right now, Golden State is up in game 2 in Memphis before they head out to San Francisco for games 3 and 4. And the final series, the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix won game 1 yesterday, 121-114. Game 2 is tomorrow in Phoenix before that scene shifts here to Dallas for games 3 and 4. So there's a rundown of those series. And Patrick, what I wanted to talk about today is there's been a lot made of whether you are starting or coming off the bench. So I go here because specifically the Golden State Warriors. We know Steph Curry, he was injured. He came back in time for the playoffs. And for a good bit of that series, their first round series with the Denver Nuggets, they just had Steph Curry coming off the bench. And Jordan Poole was getting the start and was doing good. So now Jordan Poole is back on the bench and Steph Curry is starting, but the productivity is still there. And both of these guys are still on the court in the clutch minutes. So my question to you, Patrick, is starting overrated? Is starting the game overrated? I tend to think it kind of is. What's really important is who's on the court in money time, fourth quarter, in the regulation, overtime, whatever else. To me, that's the most important stuff. Whether you start or not, I mean, I guess there's some sort of status with that, but really, I mean, who cares?
Well, the thing is like you said, I think I think the reason why people like to be the starter is to have their name called out at the beginning of the game. Other than that, man, I mean, but I mean, let's be completely honest. When there's trash minutes, it's the people that you never see play. Regardless, I mean, even when you get to the playoffs, they shorten the bench. You run 6 or 7. Most of the time it's 7. When you get into the finals, you're probably 6 for the most part, and then you'll throw in your 7th, depending on what your foul trouble is or whatever the case may be. Because I think that's what they tend to do. They run 6, see how the fouls go, and if the fouls start piling up against them, then they have to, extend that bench out to the 7th player. It's I would say it's just one of those things where people just like to have their name called out. I mean, look, it's like this. If you ask me to come off the bench or you ask me to start, I really don't care. But here we are, and my favorite line is, as long as the check cashes at the end of the week, I don't give a crap. You know what I'm saying? As long as that check cashes, where you want me? You want me to be you want me to be the 8th man? Done. Do understand that it's the same price, right? Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I will enjoy this game. But when I was younger, I would always want to. You always want to be the starter. You always want to be in part of that rotation. In this level, man, it doesn't matter because, 6 or 7, dude, you're still getting 28 minutes plus. Who cares? Like I said, as long as the check cashes at the end of the week, we play. We good. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't think it's really a necessity to be a starter. I'm good with coming off the bench if need be.
So going back to my childhood days, I was on basketball team playing intramurals and all that, and I was starting at first, and then the coach came to me and said, "Hey, we're gonna have you come off the bench." Now, part of that was because I wasn't a discipline problem, but but part of me, yeah. Part of it, my attitude wasn't always the best. So part of that was probably a little bit of a punishment. But then I sat down and my parents had talked to me. They said, "Look, hey, you come off the bench, it's all right. You're okay. You come in there, you could be a spark plug for starters, just in case the starters aren't going in there. And then if you're in there in those clutch moments, those clutch minutes, that's what really matters." And I just remembered it from there on, and I said, "Yeah, you could come off the bench. You're probably going to have the ball in your hands a lot as that spark plug for the second unit. You're kind of orchestrating the offense, and like I say, you're like for the throwback for the people who might not know this name. You remember back in the day, Denny Johnson? When he played for the Detroit Pistons, they called him the microwave. And that dude would come out there and cook you for 15, 20 points real quick.
He only put 20 minutes on the board, too.
Yeah.
He putting in a point a minute. That's all that matters.
And then you got these other 6 men, Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, dudes who have made a great living coming off the bench. Yeah. I mean, right now, look at Miami, the Miami Heat guy, Tyler Hero, won 6th Man of the Year today. You have Jordan Clarkson for Utah. He had won it the year before. I mean, there is some good living coming off of the bench. And those guys, all those guys are in there at the clutch moments. So I'm with you, Patrick. I think the starting is a little bit overrated. And you have people, Allen Iverson back in the day. You're seeing it now with guys like Russell Westbrook, who have been starters for their career. And now they're declining players. Simply put, they are declining. Well, Allen Iverson declined, and Russell Westbrook is declining before our eyes right now. But yet they still want to have this whole, well, I done earned the right to start, so I'm going to start. Dude, look, if you come off the bench, for number one, it's not about the whole earning the right thing. Whatever. If you need to come off the bench, you need to come off the bench. That's what the coach wants you to do, then that's what you need to do. And we get it in the NBA, these star players, they have a lot of say-so, and in a lot of cases, I guess they run the team. But
one day.
Yeah. But if you're Russell Westbrook, I'm gonna look at the Lakers real quick. And I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of time on this because I made a vow not to talk about them during the playoffs, because I mean, what's the point?
But they're irrelevant, but
yeah, like what's the point? I mean, really. But what I will say is this, Patrick. Russell Westbrook, him being a high volume, high usage player who has to have the ball in his hands. You already know with LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the team, that's not going to happen that way. So come off the bench. You can be that spark for the second unit. You can have the ball in your hands. You can bring the ball up the court, do all that other stuff that you want to do as the point guard. And then if you're in the game for the clutch moments, which again, most of the time he wasn't because he couldn't shoot. But but if you want to be in the game in the clutch moments, then hey, you have to play better. But that's where I would say if there was any opportunity for that mix to work out, that would have been the best way to do it. If there was a chance. Now, look, both of us have said that was a terrible idea for them to trade anyway for that it was a disaster waiting to happen. And what you have was a disaster that happened. But
if there was a chance, I told you.
Yeah, exactly. But if there was a chance, that would have been it. If you're going to do that also, Patrick, you got to put your ego to the side. What is it about? You say you want to win. You say you want to do these things to be on a championship contender. But if someone's asking you to come off the bench, oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I can do that. Wait, whoa. I thought you said you was willing to do whatever for the team. So, nah.
What changed?
Right.
The fact that you're not starting now?
Yeah. So you have the Golden State situation, Patrick, and that culture is just a team building culture. You have star players in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson who don't need the ball in their hands. They're just as fine running around on screens and operating without the ball in their hands and shoot. I mean, Draymond Green is operating more of the offense than those two guys, it seems like. And then you have Jordan Poole coming in there, just kind of fitting right in, making another depth lineup. So it's crazy.
I really understood what made him say no. The only person the only person I really see that can really just put that claim out there is LeBron James. Unfortunately.
You talking about in terms of running a team?
Yeah, well, that because he runs the team, so therefore the only person that really is going to have a starting position is him. So there's his claim. He's like, look, I think Russell should come off the bench, but you got to tell him. I can't tell him. Why? Because I only run the team when I want to, not when I have to.
I'm the passive aggressive dude. I'm gonna talk
Yeah,
through
I'm
the
a
media.
passive aggressive. I'll tell you what I think on media day.
Terrible, garbage. So
Only on when
yeah, so yeah, man. I mean, I think it takes that. It takes saying, you know what, hey, coming off the bench if it helps the team out more, putting that ego aside because, like you said, Patrick, there's a status. There's a status that comes through that says, "Oh man, I'm a starter," but you can be just as effective coming off the bench, and most likely, if you're playing good enough, you're going to be out there. You're going to be out there in those money minutes anyway, and that's what matters.
money minutes, like you said, that's all that matters. If I come off the bench, look, money minutes just means I am like at the top of my game, and I don't have to run around as far as much as the starter. So like, yeah, let them go out there and run their first 10 minutes. Run it, keep running. I'll be ready right here in just a minute.
Well, Patrick, hey, let's jump into something that we really haven't jumped on too much, man, and that's these hockey playoffs. So,
Yeah,
hockey playoffs started today. Now, like I said, I haven't followed it a whole bunch, but I do know the matchups that are there in these in the first round, and you have some good ones. We know this. The Tampa Bay Lightning are trying to three-peat. They're the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. Okay, take that back. All right, so
this year.
I guess it's called the Stanley Cup playoffs. My bad. It's not necessarily called the NHL playoffs. It's called the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Lord Stanley's Cup, hey, probably the most storied trophy I know of. I mean, that trophy is impressive. The Stanley Cup is
Yeah,
impressive.
that is the coolest
Um,
trophy of all time.
yes, it's impressive, and you get your name scribed on this bad boy and everything. So I mean, it's an impressive trophy. Um, but yes, Tampa Bay, two-time defending Stanley Cup champs, trying to go for a three-peat. If game one of their series with the Toronto Maple Leafs is any indication, they're going to have a tough time getting out of that round. Toronto blasted them Monday 5-0. And Toronto's looking good. Austin Matthews, 60 goal scorer this year. I think he scored 60 goals this year.
Yeah,
Had 2
I
goals
think he had
last
like,
night.
I think he had like something like 20 assists too.
Yeah, I mean, the dude was a
I'd
points
have to look
machine.
that up, but I mean, like, I knew he was on a tear, right?
Two
Like right after All Star.
2 goals last night. So I
Yeah.
mean, the dude was doing his thing, and looks like he hasn't missed a beat. And then also in the East, you have Boston and Carolina. Carolina won that game yesterday. And then tonight you have Washington and Florida. Florida's up 2-1 on the Caps, and I think that the Panthers have the best record in the East this year. And then the Penguins and Rangers 3-3 right now in the third. Over in the West, Calgary and Colorado were running away with stuff, but they have some pretty interesting first round matchups too. Calgary plays the Dallas Stars, so that could be pretty interesting there. Calgary's a big physical team though, so we'll see how that turns out. Colorado is playing Nashville, and that those series start a little bit later on tonight. Yesterday you had St. Louis and Minnesota. Minnesota had a pretty good season, but St. Louis just, I don't know. It's just something about that St. Louis culture. Those teams are just tried and tested, and they're always gonna be there at the end. You can say the
Yep.
same about the St. Louis Blues. They are gonna be there. They can mess up everything. And they beat Minnesota. That shut them out in Minnesota.
Yep.
last night. And then you have LA and Edmonton, and LA went up to Edmonton and got game one of that series. So the the fun thing about the Stanley Cup, Patrick, and we talked about this when we talked about hockey, and it is this. The fun part about hockey is it is that one. It's that one sport. You might be able to say this about Major League Baseball as well and their playoff system, but definitely in hockey, you home ice really doesn't matter a whole lot. It can. I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all, but the ultimate equalizers are your high
Goal.
goalies.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a goalie that can get loose and just stop everything that is shot in front of them, that can neutralize all advantages. If a team you have a potent offense, but this goalie is just shutting everything down, you're never out of the series. And it's just these matchups, I don't know. I couldn't tell you who I think is going to win the Stanley Cup. Like last year, you just knew, okay, Tampa Bay looks like they're the better team, so they
Man,
should be able to come out. But this year, no, dude, I don't. I have no clue. No clue at
I
all.
mean, I'll look through them. I mean, we can sit here and go through the picks. I can tell you there's like a couple of teams that I'm just like, this team is far more physical. Or this team is far more, battle tested, like Calgary. It's hard to go against Calgary against those Dallas Stars. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. Dallas was phenomenal. I mean, they were. But man, Calgary is just physical, man, and they are all over the place. They're fast too.
It's a bad matchup for Dallas, honestly. I mean, if
It
I
is.
had to sit there and look.
I had Calgary winning this series in 5 games. Unfortunately, yes. But I just think Calgary is just that much stronger. Now, there's a good game, or there will be a good series right here. Oilers versus Kings. That's going to be a good series because they're very evenly matched, top to bottom. Goalies phenomenal. Just they're going to be a good. That's going to be a good series. I do predict that one going 7. And then with them going 7, I do have Oilers winning that series. But they're good. I mean, Connor McDavid, dude, he's phenomenal, man. 44 goals. Yeah.
Yeah, hockey has some good young players, man. I mean, you still have the I guess the older guard, if you want to call them that, with guys like Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, uh, those dudes for Boston, Patrice Bergeron and
Mhm.
Marchand, those dudes. And I mean, but these young players, man, you got some young stars, particularly with Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews. You could really market around there. I guess with them being in Canada, it could be a little bit harder to get them into the market and down here in America. But I think with hockey, and I've always respected hockey on this round. Besides the fact that like it's a fun sport to watch,
I
I
love
will
watching
I
hockey.
will tell you, Patrick, you a playoff hockey game is one of the best environments in sports. One of
Yep.
the absolute best environments you can ever
Hockey
be
games in general are the
in. Yeah.
best.
Dude,
There's nothing like it, man. Nothing like it.
have you been to a playoff one?
No.
Dude, Patrick, go. I mean that atmosphere is electric,
Oh,
man.
I
You can
imagine.
just sense it in the crowd. They're just more intense with it. It is an awesome
But if
environment.
I'm going, bro, I want to see the furnace, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Dude, they have the best pregame show ever. Ever. Dude, just YouTube that crap, man. You just sit there in awe with everything and how it just flows up, and you got the guy that goes to center ice and, you know, salutes each side, and then he takes that fire and he puts it on the ice and it just And then it just goes, man, I'm just like, I gotta go, man. That's the one I want to go. I like that is on my bucket list. On one of the things in sports is to go to Montreal to the Furnace and watch that show. I don't care who they're playing. I don't. I just want to watch that show and be in that environment.
It's awesome. So I mean, I could tell you of a couple real quick, man. So of course, being here in Dallas, I actually worked at the American Airlines Center, the Stars and Mavericks home arena, and the Stars were in the playoffs. I got to work all three of those playoff games. I think this was back in 2014, and Anaheim Ducks was who they were playing. And that atmosphere where you get those hankies, those pom poms waving and stuff, man, all in unison. It is awesome. That environment is awesome. Another environment I got to be at, man. I don't know if I ever told you this, but back in 2006, I went to Edmonton when the Oilers were in the Stanley Cup. Yes, I got to go there. I had a TDY during my days in the military. I had a TDY up to this place called Cold Lake, Canada. It's about 2.5 hours from Edmonton in a drive. We went down there for that weekend, and Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final was there in Edmonton. Now, we didn't go to the game, but just being in an atmosphere where you could watch it. We were in a mall, and we went to a restaurant in the mall, and you could just see it, man. Everybody's just glued to the TV, just watching the Oilers. The Oilers won that night, so it was a great night for us partying. That's another story. You gotta tune in to the lost episodes or maybe like behind the scenes and talk about that. But
maybe one day we'll keep it on and let everybody enjoy the after show commentary. Put your kids in bed.
Yeah. Yes, after dark especially. But yeah, I mean, great atmospheres, man. And I mean, being up there in Canada, that's the number one sport up there. It was just awesome environments. And hockey, one thing I've always respected about them also too, Patrick, is they don't apologize for anything. Hey, this is what we have. This is our product. Either you're going to like it or you're not. But the ones who do, yes. The ones who do, very passionate about it. And just being in the environment, I can understand why. Like, it's a fun sport to be around. It really is.
Dude, you've heard me say it many times. The reasons why I love hockey and the reasons why I love baseball. One word. Tradition. And they stick to it. Now, baseball has come off of it a little bit, trying to, But all in all, they have really tried to keep their traditions. And I don't like these young kids coming in and screwing it up with PEDs and all the stuff that is really going on. But I think baseball is cleaning it up, and hockey is doing a lot to keep it out of their sport. So I love these sports. These are my two favorite ones. Football is actually third behind baseball, then hockey, and then football.
Well, Patrick, speaking of baseball, let's get on there because we have another baseball controversy, of course. So now, Patrick, what we're talking about as we go into the second month of the season? God, it's crazy. It's already May, but that season that month came and gone, or came and went, and you have another controversy in terms of the baseball's manufacturers and what effects are put onto these baseballs. Now, a big thing is dented baseballs. Basically, when the ball is barreled on by the bat, you're thinking, hey, I got my launch angle, I got my uppercut swing, this is going to be gone. And yeah, it's just a routine fly ball. And people are wondering, well, is it the baseball? Baseball is dented. So, I mean, I just have so many questions here. So how do we go from juice baseballs and juice ballparks and juice cribs to now we're just going to go ahead and dent all the baseballs and the run production is just way down? It's
Charles, it's a
crazy.
hangover.
Yeah,
It's a hangover. This is your baseball hangover right here. Take some ibuprofen, 800 milligrams, suck it up, and try to play baseball tomorrow. Now, look, it's like this. You can gear a lot of sports in offense. You can gear a lot of sports in defense. The problem that you're going to run into with baseball is if you gear it into offense, you have to juice something. If you gear it into defense, you have to unjuice something. There is no penalties. There is no those things in baseball. You have basketball. You don't have baseball. This is the reason why, at the end of the day, there are certain things that you cannot fix in sport. Certain things, putting a DH on both leagues. Okay, you've driven up the, but coming out going, okay, now I'm having to face actual NL Stadium. I got to be a little bit more precise, a little bit more in tune with where my pitches are and how I'm going to stay away to certain batters and how I'm going to come in certain batters, and is my velocity just right? And I mean, the thing is that you cannot gear baseball into this offense, or you can't gear it into defense, no matter how much you try, because even if you want to put in shifts, you can't do the shifts anymore, right? Everybody will, no, you can't do the shifts. But guess
yeah,
what?
after this year, I guess they're gonna do it with the shift. Yeah.
Yeah. But guess what? Even though you do away with the shift, it does not mean that the people can't shift. Just let's take the infield for Atlanta, right? You have Dansby Swanson at shortstop, and you have Albies at second, right? Second base sits in between them. So technically, second base is from second base to mid of first base. So Albies can actually play right there on just depending on where you're looking at it. So if you're looking at it from home plate, he can play just right of that bat of the bag, and he's still not considered in the shift. So you're taking away the shift, taking it away, but you're really not doing much. That's the reason why I don't really understood why that was such an ordeal, right? Yes, they're technically they're technically in their positions, but they can still do a little bit of a shift. It doesn't make sense.
It's a strategy.
It's a strategy. Just get it, do it. But this is how people are thinking. Well, we got to gear it for offense. Okay, well that's fantastic. How are you going to gear it for offense? Because when these people, you still have batters that are striking out at enormous rates because they want to hit the deep ball and try to get their angle velocity and elevate to celebrate bull crap. I just play the game, and you'll realize that you can actually score more points. Look at Atlanta. Atlanta is, I mean, they're not scoring like tremendous amount of runs. Not like Philly. Philly is getting a lot more runs than Atlanta is, but Atlanta is having this problem with trying to hit too many home runs. Yes, they lead the NL right now, but they also lead the NL in strikeouts. Why do you think they're 11-15? Because they keep striking out. So you can do all of this stuff.
To the Mets today.
What's that?
Lost a doubleheader to the Mets today.
Oh, dude, and the Mets, they're just playing baseball, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just playing baseball. Look at them. They just playing baseball. They're not worried about the home run. They're not worried about it. They just want to put the ball in play. Coach always told me when I was playing, he goes, you can strike out. That's just a pitch and catch. But if you put the ball in play, that is a pitch, catch, scoop, and throw, and then he still has skips. There's 4 opportunities for an error to happen in that play. If you strike out, there's only 1. So just play the game. And don't worry about all this other stuff. Don't worry about offense. Don't worry about defense and trying to produce more runs. Just play the game, and you'll realize that's what baseball is meant to be. Just play.
I'll go ahead and give some credit where credit's due right now, and it's early in the season, but the two New York teams, the Mets and the Yankees, playing really good baseball. The Yankees have won 10 in a row, and they're beating the Toronto Blue Jays again right now. So the Yankees they're rolling. That right now looking like they are threatening to run away with this division if they keep this up. And they're playing good baseball. They're getting the home runs hit, but they're actually getting good pitching. You can hold Toronto's offense to 1 run, and last night they won a 3-2 game. And you're getting some good pitching there, so you have to give the Yankees a little bit of credit. Hey, maybe Luis Severino is starting to develop a little bit. I don't know, but so far, yeah, as of the end of April, the two New York teams playing some really good ball. Got to give it to them. We'll see if that maintains, however, though.
Let's see what it looks like after All-Star break. Then we'll talk again.
Right. Exactly. But it's just this latest thing, Patrick, with the baseball. So I feel like this. Another thing that's kind of up is hit batters. The New York Mets, they've had a lot of batters get hit. And, I think that when it comes to Sticky Gate and the spider tag that they were using, you know how I feel about it, Patrick, because we had talked about this. So, hey, I say let them use the spider tag. Let the pitchers use it. You have a regulated bit of spider tag. Let's not just have them just go out there caked with spider tag. We're not trying to see that. But a regulated bit of spider tag, just enough for them to get a grip on the baseball and control their pitches a little bit better. The batters, a regulated bit of pine tar.
Yep.
I say right there, that would be fine. Regulate the pine tar just a little bit. They don't want their bat caked with pine tar, but just enough to where, hey, they can get a better grip on the bat, whatever else. Just go ahead and regulate it like that. And then that way, no one's getting an unfair advantage. None of this stuff is happening because MLB is regulating this. So there's no cheating there. Now, if you go above the standards or above the regulated bit, okay, hit them up, suspend them, throw them out of the game.
Crap out of them. I mean, first offense, 1.5 mil.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, they'll be like, oh, no, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, hit them up with the suspensions and all that. But, hey, regulate it. If it, to me, Patrick, anything that means the safety of the players, do it.
Yeah.
Not trying to see players get dotted in the face with a 98-mile-per-hour fastball that the pitcher lost control of.
Yep.
And not trying to see that. Make sure these players are taken care of first and foremost. And if it means them having a little bit of sticky gate to help them grip the ball, I'm about it. I'm fine with that. And then the batters, just use some pine tar. But if you're Major League Baseball, stop messing with the baseballs if that's what's going on. Go ahead, have one regulated baseball. Stop denting baseballs. Stop juicing baseballs. And stop building these juice ballparks. And go from there.
Yeah, babe, you know what? You know what would be the best thing to do?
That
give them juiced baseballs, but extend the outside of the outfield fence by like 100.
Okay, yeah. Where it's just 440 around the whole park.
520.
Center field 500.
Juice it. But you better be able to hit it.
Oh, man.
I think that was awesome.
Well, Patrick, before we get out, man, let's get on this NCAA topic. So, apparently, the NCAA is coming up with a quote-unquote task force to kind of monitor.
What?
I know, yeah, exactly. But yes, but they're coming out here to try to, I guess, regulate name, image, and likeness a little bit more. Now, here's the thing with this also, Patrick. Here's the thing with this also.
This is their attempt trying to get control.
Yeah, and look, and here's the thing: they're targeting the boosters more than anything else. Look, so here's how I feel about this. If you're gonna come after the boosters, if you're the NCAA and you say you want to put together this task force and target these boosters for helping enhance NIL or name, image, and likeness, then you need to hit everything up. Don't just go after the boosters. Don't just stop there. You're gonna have to hit up other endorsers, the shoe companies as well, because all of them are part of it. All of them are part of getting these players in these colleges. All of them. It's no secret. Ain't nobody gonna try to act like this. None of this is going on. So
It's
now,
out
like
there
you said,
every
this
day.
is right. The NCAA, you're right. This is just them trying to get control of the situation, but it's too late.
Yeah.
It's just way too late. They're just trying to get a hold of their money pool because that's what's happening here. The money is not coming in like it was. Okay, don't get me wrong. They're still making money hand over fist, but it's going to come to a time where it's going to fracture, like we talked about last week.
No,
And this
it's
is them
starting to.
trying to get this. Yep.
It's starting to, because look, if you're going to do this, the whole NIL thing, if you were going to do it, you need to put it in place, and then you have tight reins on it, right? And then after that tight rein, you see what can be done. Then you can loosen a little bit, loosen a little bit, loosen a little bit until you get your perfect, and then let it roll, right? You can't go, oh, NIL, do what you want to do. And then these people come in and they're like, whoa, hold on. Well, we're not making a lot of money off of this. Well, you never said I couldn't do it. You never said I couldn't do this, or you never said I couldn't do that. So yeah, I'm going to partner with Nick Saban. I'm going to get his recruits in here. I'm going to give them money, and then I'm going to make him make me a lot of money. Heck yeah, I would. Absolutely. If I had a business that could do that, I absolutely would have been in it. I'll give you $500,000 to come in here and do whatever you need to do. Make me some money. Heck yeah. If the profitability, if the ROI is going to be that sustainable, shoot, yeah. And then they issue it out, and they're just like, yeah, do whatever you want to. And now they want to put reins on. No, they just need to be gone. They just need to go away. It's too late. Go away. Go away. Texas and Oklahoma coming over here. You've already coming to the SEC. You've already allowed NIL and a super conference. Get out. Y'all are way too late. Just go. No, you have allowed two of the things that you could not handle to happen, that you could not do anything about, and then you let it happen, and now you want to rein it? No. Go away. You're done. You're done. Get out of here.
Oh shit. Well, on that note, Patrick, I guess we're done too.
Until next week.
Until next week, absolutely, man. I just wanted to get that in there, and this is something we will continue to talk about.
Yeah, we'll
because
about that.
The NCAA, it's crazy. Well, on that note, y'all, that will conclude this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. So until next week, everybody enjoy. There's a lot going on. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs. Got baseball going. Lots of stuff happening in sports.
USFL going on. Watch that.
Yeah, you got the USFL. It's actually been pretty good football. I watched a couple of those games. It's actually pretty good. So you got the USFL going, and then we're in May now. It'll be pretty soon before the college softball World Series comes on, and the college baseball World Series for the men's side starts coming up too. So lots of stuff
we got.
going on.
What we got next month? Little League World Series.
Yeah, well, I think they're August. I think they're July and August.
July and August. That's right. Yeah. I can tell you, man. Before we get out of here, I got 30 seconds. Let me tell you, that Tennessee Volunteer baseball team is for real. You see that kid can pitch 105 miles an hour?
You know, I haven't caught a lot of the college baseball, but this is around the time where I start to get into it. I'm gonna get.
He is crazy. That's what happened. You see me disappear? Boom.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, y'all take it easy, and we'll be back on this same time frame come next Tuesday. Y'all take care. Have a good rest of the week.